Somewhere along the way, baseball fans stopped wanting their teams to win and started wanting fairness trophies. Today, on a special Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in the country. My name is Booney, one name, all passion, lifelong A's fan who has been covering the A's a little over a year now with roster decisions, post-game shows, and all the chaos in between. Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team, your A's, every single day. And today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. The AFC and NFC championships are here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Today on Locked On A's, we rip straight into the nonstop whining about the Dodgers signing Kyle Tucker and use it as a case study for how soft baseball discourse has become. The show starts by dismantling the quote-unquote "it's not fair" crowd and explaining why a team spending money to win is literally the point of professional sports, not some moral failure. From there, it shifts into calling out fans for blaming the Dodgers instead of their own owners, breaking down why most teams can spend more but choose not to. The episode closes by reframing the Dodgers as a necessary villain for the sport, arguing that ambition isn't ruining baseball, apathy is, and challenging fans to demand more from their teams instead of crying about the ones that actually show up to win. The collective wailing around Major League Baseball is reaching opera levels of melodrama. Stop the presses and grab the tissues. The Los Angeles Dodgers signed another star player, and apparently that's unfair now. In the latest chapter of big market villainy, the Dodgers swooped in and landed all-star outfielder Kyle Tucker on a 4-year, $240 million contract. Cue the outrage, as if on schedule. Fans of other teams and a few pundits erupted with cries that this move quote-unquote broke baseball. How could the rich Dodgers add yet another marquee name? How dare a team use its resources to try to win? Meanwhile, as LA's talent gap over the rest of MLB widens, the chorus of frustration from the other 29 teams' fan bases only grows louder. The Dodgers keep improving, and instead of challenging them, everybody else seems content to collectively throw their hands up and whine. To hear some tell it, Tucker's signing was the final proof that competitive balance is dead and the sport is on life support. Give me a break. Never mind that Los Angeles simply did what ambitious franchises are supposed to do: improve the team. Imagine that. We are now subjected to a nationwide pity party about how no one else can compete. I mean, are you serious? The soft state, the absolute soft state, let me say that again. The soft state of today's baseball discourse is downright laughable. We've got rival fans acting like the Dodgers just built the Death Star, when in reality, all they did was spend money. Their own money, mind you, on a great player in his prime. Poor things. Did the big bad Dodgers hurt your feelings by trying to win the World Series? In days past, a dominant team might spark rivals to up their game. Now it prompts them to cry foul and beg for rule changes. It's as if excellence itself has become offensive. And to that, I say, cry away. Boo-hoo. The rest of baseball needs to toughen up, and so do the fans. Toughen up and dry up your tears, because this pity parade is absolutely 100% pathetic. Has whining become the new national pastime? The Dodgers have made a habit of stockpiling star talent in pursuit of championships, much to the dismay of their rivals. Instead of challenging their own front offices to do better, too many fans are choosing to complain that it's not fair. Their reaction to Tucker and Dodger Blue was nothing short of a tantrum. One aggrieved commenter even declared that fans should boycott the season and welcome a lockout, claiming the sport is fundamentally unfair, with the rich staying rich and the poor voluntarily choosing to lose. Unless a salary cap is installed. Imagine that, surrendering an entire season because your team's owner won't spend as much as the Dodgers. This is where we are. This is absolutely where we are. Rather than expect their teams to step up, some fans would rather take their ball and go home. The discourse around baseball's big spenders has gotten so soft that envy has curdled into entitlement. If a franchise dares to be ambitious, the rest don't demand their own clubs match their ambition. They just reach for the nearest pacifier and cry that it is unfair. The absurdity does not stop at calls for boycotts and lockouts. On social media, it was a race to see who could be the most outraged. Critics blast the Dodgers' endless spending and claimed the sky was falling on competitive balance. A few melodramatic souls were quick to react with doom and gloom pronouncements about the league falling apart because LA keeps outspending everyone. You would think the Dodgers signing Tucker somehow physically eliminated 20 teams from the league. One fan on Twitter went so far as to label the league a quote-unquote joke and called Tucker so lame for choosing to sign with LA. Yes, in the eyes of some, a 27-year-old all-star opting to join a perennial contender and get paid a king's ransom to do it makes him the bad guy. That's how far removed from reality this conversation has drifted. We've got grown adults on the internet effectively calling a player names: lame, spineless, a weasel, for the crime of accepting $240 million to play for a winner. It would be hysterical if it weren't so embarrassingly childish. Let's be clear. There's nothing unfair about the Dodgers' latest power move. This isn't grade school field day. It's professional sports. Los Angeles didn't break any rules by signing Kyle Tucker. They simply refused to sit on their pile of cash and instead put it to use on the field. Meanwhile, many of the franchises whose fans are crying foul have owners who choose to do nothing while expecting a trophy to fall from the sky. The proper response to an arms race is to simply arm yourself, not to forfeit. But too many baseball fans have embraced a loser's mentality. They'd rather complain that the Dodgers buy championships than ask why their own team isn't even in the auction. Newsflash: every owner in MLB is rich. Many could spend more on talent if they truly wanted to compete. The notion that LA has some unfair advantage is a convenient cop-out. Sure, not every team can match the Dodgers' revenue streams dollar for dollar, especially after LA built a global brand the way the Yankees once did. However, every single team could choose to invest more in winning than they currently do. As one analyst bluntly put it, it's not actually possible for every team to do what the Dodgers are doing at the extreme high end, although it is certainly possible for every MLB franchise to spend sustainably more on players. In other words, your team might not sign a $240 million superstar very often, but it could certainly stop acting like poverty is an excuse for mediocrity. Guys, money isn't ruining baseball. Mediocrity is. The narrative that spending money and building a super team is ruining the game is the biggest joke of all. You know what truly hurts baseball? Teams that refuse to try. Blaming the Dodgers for baseball's competitive imbalance is like blaming honor roll students for other kids getting Fs. The Dodgers are doing exactly what a winning organization should, leveraging their advantages to field the best team possible. And guess what? That raises the bar for everyone. A dominant heavyweight in the sport gives all other teams something to strive against. In fact, having a juggernaut can energize the league. Fans either flock to root for the powerhouse or passionately tune in, hoping to see Goliath stumble. What the Dodgers are doing is a good thing for sports. It's a great thing for baseball. And how the narrative is being changed to look at it from the other side is an absolute joke and shows you what fans have turned into as a whole. The truth is, every sport benefits from a villainous super team driving interest in storylines. The Dodgers have become a powerhouse global brand, likely surpassing even the Yankees. And that broad exposure boosts overall revenues, TV ratings, and fan engagement across the board. The only people who genuinely hate this are, to borrow a phrase, the dumb talking heads and jealous fans who can't stand seeing a team actually live up to its potential. Everyone else in the industry, including most owners, knows that having a big, bad super team is good theater and good business. LA wears the black hat, and the league is more compelling because of it. The AFC and NFC championships are here. New England in Denver, LA in Seattle, and all last week I told you Josh Allen and Bo Nix both to go over 1.5 touchdown passes. And why is this important? It's because every single playoff game day, FanDuel drops a profit boost right into your account. You open the app, grab your boost, and apply them to the bets you already like. For example, Josh Allen, over 1.5 touchdown passes. Bo Nix, over 1.5 touchdown passes, which was a winner. You put those together and it pays about 4 times your bet. Add a profit boost. Now you're talking 6 times, maybe 7 times your money. Same picks, just more juice. This week, Drake May and Broncos QB Jarrett Stidham to go over 1.5 TD passes. Today, that is paying 6 times your money. With a profit boost, maybe 9 times or 10 times your money. Every play feels bigger in the playoffs, and FanDuel makes sure your payouts feel that way too. So head to FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and make sure you grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in the country. If you have not already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. You will get access to an ad-free audio feed for Locked On A's, which is compatible with Apple, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. You will get an invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat just for listeners of this show. For Locked On A's, you can find it at #locked-on-a's. Go to lockedona's.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. It is literally $4.99 a month or a cup of coffee a month or $50 a year. Again, go to lockedona's.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. Take a hard look at the real problem. It's not the Dodgers spending. It's your team's not spending. The competitive unfairness isn't that LA writes huge checks. It's that too many other owners won't write any. Remember, the Dodgers front office didn't wake up with magic powers. They operate under the same rules as everyone else. The difference is their ownership actually reinvests profits into the on-field product instead of pocketing them. In fact, over the past few years, the Dodgers have reportedly plowed roughly 70% of their revenue back into their payroll, even eating enormous luxury tax bills for exceeding spending thresholds, while a majority of MLB teams spend less than half of their revenues on player salaries. Think about that. According to one sports finance analyst, 20 out of 30 teams in MLB spend under 50% of their revenue on payroll, essentially choosing profit over performance. That's not a Dodgers problem. That's an epidemic of cheapness around the league. If a small market club like the Miami Marlins had simply spent the same percentage of its revenue on players as the Dodgers do, It could add about $60 million worth of talent to its roster. $60 million. That's a couple of all-star caliber players. The Marlins choose not to sign purely because their owners would rather save a buck. So spare us the sob story that the Dodgers' success is impossible to challenge. It's only impossible if your team's owner cares more about making money than winning games. Here's another twist. While the rest of the league complains about the Dodgers spending, the Dodgers are literally subsidizing many of those teams. Los Angeles' payroll is so high that they paid over $100 million in luxury tax penalties last year. Money which gets redistributed to lower spending clubs. In 2025, for example, the Dodgers paid roughly $150 million in luxury tax, effectively writing gigantic checks to their competitors on top of already having the highest payroll. So the same teams crying that they can't compete are cashing revenue sharing and luxury tax revenue from the Dodgers and then choosing not to spend it on players. If that doesn't expose the hypocrisy, nothing will. The Dodgers are doing everything in their power to win. For sure, they should. And footing part of the bill for other teams in the process. If those other clubs still can't catch up, that's 100% on them. As one sharp observer said, many owners have successfully convinced fans that the real problem is a lack of salary cap. Basically tricking people into defending billionaire owners' wallets instead of players' desire to get paid what they are worth. It's absurd. Fans calling for a salary cap are essentially volunteering to make rich owners even richer, all because they've been duped into thinking ambitious teams like the Dodgers are the enemy. Here's the reality. A salary cap wouldn't magically make stingy owners start spending. It would just give them an excuse to spend even less. The Dodgers would still find ways to maximize talent, and the cheapskates would still cry poor. Don't fall for that con. The issue isn't that the Dodgers have an unfair advantage. It's that too many other teams refuse to even play the same game. At the end of the day, the Dodgers are doing exactly what they are supposed to do, playing to win. They make a lot of money, and shocker, they spend a lot of money, reinvesting in the team and the fans' experience. Since when is trying to put the best possible product on the field a crime? Los Angeles has assembled a juggernaut roster through a mix of shrewd trades, strong player development, and yes, aggressive spending on free agents like Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts. No one told the Red Sox to trade Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. That formula is completely legal and, in fact, encouraged in a sport with no salary cap. If other franchises choose not to follow suit, that's on them. The Dodgers owe no apologies for refusing to sit back and play mediocre just to make others feel better. As a Dodgers executive might say, we are not sorry. We are just better prepared. And as a baseball fan, I'm not sorry either. I'm grateful to see a team actually use its resources to field a winner. It's a refreshing antidote to the endless rebuilds and bargain bin payrolls elsewhere. So to all the haters and whiners, instead of complaining about the Dodgers, try emulating them. Demand more from your team's owner. Expect investment in winning, not excuses. Baseball isn't ruined because one team is determined to be great. Baseball is improved by having a standard of greatness everyone else should chase. The Dodgers aren't the problem in MLB. They are just the only ones with the guts to put winning above everything else. If you find that unfair, the issue isn't with the LA Dodgers. It's with your acceptance of mediocrity. Either step up to the plate or kindly step aside. And sure, the Dodgers have been dominant for the last 2 years, back-to-back titles. But if you really examine it, what happened? How did they really win? 2024, they went into those playoffs banged up. They didn't win because they had the most talent. They won because they were tougher than everybody else. They won because they were more together than everybody else. And in 2025 was one of the best World Series, if not the best World Series of all time. And that was basically a coin flip. In 2021, they won 106 games, lost in the NLCS in 6 games. In 2022, they won 111 games, lost in 4 in the NLDS to the Padres. And in 2024, they won 100 games, and they got swept by the D-backs in the NLDS. So stop the crying. Stop the crying. And when the Dodgers visit Sacramento this year, yeah, I expect the A's to take them because I think they're a better ball club. I wrestle a lot with the question of what fans really, really want. And when I look back at the teams I absolutely love, which is the A's, the Warriors, and the Niners, I don't think as a fan I can ask much more. They've all had successes during their time. I've spoken about this on many of occasions and what I feel about the A's franchise in Oakland and how it was treated as a third fiddle. And I've asked this question over and over with regard to fans. What do fans really want? And I'm sincere about that question. The A's, since the year 2000, have the 6th most wins in all of Major League Baseball. 2000 to 2021, to be exact. 2022 to 2025 was rough. That goes without saying. But when I think about 2000 to 2021, I never cared about who owned the team. I never cared about what flashy free agent we signed. I cared about that every summer was competitive, that the A's put out a club that can compete for a championship. In 2000, 91 and 70, lost in 5 games to the Yanks. 2001, 102 and 60, lost in 5 to the Yanks. 2002, the Moneyball year, 103, 103 wins, lost in 5 to the Twins. And in 2003, 96 and 66, lost in 5 to the Red Sox. You talk about some tough years. And then we went through a rebuild, so they called it, as the A's won 91 games in 2004, finishing 2nd in the West, barely missing the playoffs. In 2005, 88 wins and 74 losses, again, finishing 2nd, barely missing the playoffs. This is what the A's fans supposedly in Oakland called a rebuild. This wasn't a rebuild. 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. 6 summers where it was memory after memory. And as a fan, I couldn't ask for anything more. 2006, we were back in the dance. We won the AL West. 93 wins, 69 losses. Finally got a playoff win, sweeping the Twins, but being swept by the Tigers in the ALCS. 2007, we went backwards for the first time in a long time. 76 and 86. In 2008, 86 losses as well. In 2009, 87 losses. But we started to turn things around in 2010 with 81 wins. And after a down year in 2011, it started up again. 2012, 94 wins. And for me, the most memorable season in A's history. But the playoffs got us again, lost in 5 to the Tigers. 2013, lost in 5 to the Tigers after winning 96 games. 88 games we won in 2014. And I say 2014, and A's fans will immediately think wild card game to the Royals. And what a heartbreaker that was. We went into some dark periods again for over a period of time, losing over the next several years. But coming back strong in 2018, 97 wins, winning the West, losing in the wild card. 2019, lost in the wild card to the Rays. In 2020, in the COVID-shortened season, We had a playoff win over the White Sox, lost to the Astros in 4. In 2021, we had 86 wins. We were right there again. Finished second in the AL West. And as we go forward, as a fan, I couldn't ask any more from this franchise. I couldn't ask any more as far as what they have done. I'm not talking about the owner. I'm not talking about the front office. I'm talking about the summers. Each summer and how glorious each one was. Did they invest in the team? No, they didn't. Did I care? No, I didn't. I would care if they lost, but they didn't. They won, and they won at the rate of some of baseball's greatest teams. I'm proud of this franchise, and I'm proud of what they have done. I don't care about the spending. I don't care about who the owner is. I care that they are competitive year in and year out. And there will never be a day where I sit down and bow to the almighty Dodgers for how good they are and ever think that a team like the A's cannot compete with them. Sports change fast. So for anybody watching that hears all the bad news about the A's, bad owner, bad front office, they don't invest in the team. From a lifelong A's fan, they have given me nothing but joy, enjoyment, and summer after summer of fun. The Dodgers are not only good for baseball, they are what sports need. It's been a long time since sports has a villain, and they finally have one. Good for you, Dodgers. Have a good one. Thanks for tuning in today to Locked On A's. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. live on YouTube on audio. The show should be up at around 10 a.m. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On A's so you get all the latest episodes. You can find Locked On A's on social media, on X, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Locked On A's. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On A's ad-free, plus members only, Discord access, and more. Only $4.99 per month, or a cup of coffee a month, or $50 per year. Head to lockedona's.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB.